Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. I forgot where I was there. I miss a week and this is what happens. But as always, I'm joined by Alan and Kat. How are you both doing?
Well, I'm here.
Had better days.
Had better Sundays, eh? So we'll just get into it so that we can get it over and done with. We made the trip to Airdrie today to play Celtic, and it wasn't our best day, shall we say. So the team was Jenna Fife back in goals, a back three, Lisa Martinez, Tessa Medag and Nick Dock. We had Liv McLaughlin and Chelsea Cornett in the middle, Brogan, Rachel Rowe and Lizzie Arnott as kind of middle three, and then we had Hardy and Ewens up front. Alan, any surprises in the team, or was that kind of what you were expecting?
Well, obviously we didn't go to the game expecting Kathy Hill to be injured, so that was the first surprise. But that's self-explanatory. If she's injured, she's not going to play. Lizzie starting instead of Mia, I think we're all surprised at that. Their toss-up, two out of the three that was going to get picked to play up front, but it does seem that Joe prefers Sarah playing with either Jane or Rio as a partnership. But I think as the game sort of started, the biggest surprise was Lisa playing on the right side of defence. I thought she'd have played on the left and Nick would have moved across.
Kat, anything to add to that?
I don't think so. Alan's pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say. It was a weird one. Kathy's obviously injured, hopefully not for too long. And then, to me, Mia should start every game that we've got the option to start her in. I think she just offers us so much more. But, Joel made her decisions and she'll come to, live and die. But, it's a bit dramatic. But, she'll come to have to stick by those decisions that she made, and she'd made them today and it didn't work out. So hopefully she'll learn from that and the team will learn from that and we'll go into next week a bit better.
Yeah, Alan, so we never started the game very well and they got the lead pretty early on. I think it was around about 5 minutes and they had taken the lead with Tasha Flint scoring. So we've not been starting games that well recently anyway, but you really don't want to do it on a day like today, do you?
No, you really don't. And I've made a habit all season of giving Celtic a 1-goal start, but giving them a 1-goal start after about 3.5 minutes a day was a new low, for starting these games. But I can't quite put my finger on why we seem to be starting games and sitting off so much. We're starting games at a training pace, and I'm not really sure what's changed, but sitting off him and giving him a chance to play is just it's not going to work well for us. And it was a really sloppy goal we conceded so early in the game.
Yeah, Kat, and we obviously keep saying, we did even kind of joke at the game, we went behind, that's who's going to win it now. But it kind of comes to the point when, and as today has turned out to be, you give them a start, one of these days they're going to take advantage of that. And we did have some chances, but then they go 2-0 up just before half time, and for there it's kind of an uphill struggle. We could have come back 3-2, you never know, but it's just you give them enough chances, they're eventually going to take it, and as they have done today, and they get the win.
Yeah, the first goal, Jenna makes a good save to start it, to save it, and then there's nobody behind her, so there's not much you can do. The second goal is a calamity of errors from basically everyone in the defence and even the midfield. It's just not good enough, and I don't know what it is, whether it's fatigue or what it is, but we just looked so slow at getting to every ball, second balls especially. We weren't making the right pass, we were getting sucked into their game, and we just didn't play the way that we know that we can. And it has been coming. Like you say, we've been giving them goals every time we played them, but we've had the fight to come back and win it. And today it didn't look like that was ever going to happen. And it's just one of those games we need to learn from. We've lost a game now, and I don't know whether that pressure of being unbeaten got to a few of the players and it just slowed them down a bit. I don't know, but it's just all over today from management to the whole team. It just wasn't good enough, especially that first half. It was just nowhere near good enough.
Yeah, Alan, quite a few players were kind of struggling that half. I think it was most noticeable that Lizzie was really struggling at that wing. Every time she was trying to kind of break forward, she was getting the ball taken off her. We were trying to get things kind of started, movement started, but they just kept their defence, to their credit, for a change, was actually stepping up and just clearing everything away. But we just seem to be struggling constantly, just trying to break the lines down, and that's something that we've done really well against them in the past.
Yeah, as I said at the game, I think I suspect Lizzie's been given the nod over Mia for her experience and her work rate, and she put in a power of work sort of defensively, but I think that's just the way we ended up allowing the game to come. That our wingers played more as fullbacks than wingers, and granted, playing wing backs are going to have to do a lot of defensive work, but Lizzie was too deep too often, and she couldn't get up the park, and it just as hard as Lizzie worked, and she put in an absolute power effort. It wasn't coming off for her, but it'd be far from fair to single out Lizzie as the only person. It just wasn't happening for her in that first half. As Carr touched on with the first goal, Jenna pulled off a save. You probably expected Natasha Flint to go through and score first time. Jenna's pulled off a great save, but if keeper makes a save like that, we need to be first to the second ball, and we weren't. But that was par for the game, lacking to the second balls.
Yeah, Car, so we go in at half time 2-0 down. You kind of expect the players to come out firing after Joe's stuck a rocket up them half time, but we came out and we still looked really sluggish. It looked like she probably gave them a bit of a telling off, but it hadn't really worked. Whereas we seen last week that it made a bit of a difference, whereas this week not much seemed to change.
Yeah, and it was weird because Mia had got kind of took the bib off and everything looked like she was getting ready to come on at half time. So we're buzzing, right, Mia's coming on for Lizzie. That's what we thought. We'll make some changes here. And then everybody comes back out and Mia's put her coat back on and is sat back down. So, I mean, I don't understand why we've not made that. It needed to be changed. We needed subs, and Jo didn't do it at that time, whether she was told, no, you can't, which I highly doubt. I mean, managers make subs at halftime all the time, so I don't know what that was about, but we just came out just as slow and sluggish as we did in the first half. So I don't know. Obviously, they came out a bit better. The second half was marginally better, but nothing really had changed that much. So I don't know what needs to be done to get them back into that fighting spirit, but they just were struggling with everything, and then the subs do come and they're not what we anticipated them being.
Yeah, so the subs came 57-ish minute. I think the Chelsea for Libby sub wasn't a big surprise because Chelsea kind of took a knock in the first half. So maybe that was kind of precautionary. Liv was doing all right as she has done, putting in a shift. But Brogan for me, like Brogan was, as we all kind of said at the game, was doing really well. She had two of them on their bums at one point because she'd turned them inside out, and she was the one that was really driving us forward, and then she goes off, but Lizzie's still on, and we kind of thought it should be Lizzie that was off, but obviously Joe's the one that makes these decisions. Maybe she sees something different than us, but what did you make of it?
I was just as surprised as both of you were. I mean, the only change we'd made at half time was swapping Brogan and Lizzie on the wings we were playing, and Brogan had done really well in the first half on the left, and on the right she had that full back on strings, and often we see maybe Brogan struggling as the game goes on a wee bit and her legs have went, but she absolutely looked fine, and she looked surprised herself to be coming off. So it was one of them. If we go on and win the game, then you say it's a gamble, it's a choice, it's paid off. But unfortunately today it didn't. As you said, we saw Chelsea look like she'd picked up a knock in the first half. So you're absolutely right saying it wasn't a surprise that we saw Chelsea come off and Libby come on.
Hey, Car, what's your kind of take on it? Because obviously, as we say, Brogan. These are the kind of games Brogan thrives in. Obviously, everybody knows that what team she kind of grew up supporting in that, but she really gets a bit between her teeth and goes gung ho in these games. And she seemed to be the player that was going to just drag us back into it, and then next thing she's off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just completely baffled by it. The Libby change, I fully, was behind it. I thought we needed that. We needed that physicality in midfield, which she offered us. Brogan coming off was madness, in my opinion. I don't know why that's happened. Lizzie is a great player, but she's not the player she was 2 seasons ago. She's lost a bit of pace. She's not as willing to take players on as she used to be, whereas Brogan loves that. She loves taking players on. She was turning them inside out, and they were struggling against her. Sorry, I can't. So I don't understand why she's done that. Maybe Brogan was struggling and it was said at half time, but after the game it didn't seem like that was the case. So I don't know why she made that change, and it didn't really work for us, in my opinion. I'm just very perplexed by the whole game, to be honest. I don't really have enough words to describe it. I'm just a bit done, I think.
Yeah, so as always, when Mia comes on, she's a wee pocket rocket. She was running at them and doing basically what Brogan was doing, but it would have been nice to have that on either wing. But anyway, and then I don't know if it was before or after the Jane substitute, but there was the absolutely ridiculous tackle. Should have been a red card. Was only a yellow card. Try and make sense of it, please.
I'll be honest, at the game, I didn't see it as particularly bad. It looked like a 50-50 and both had went for the ball, but based on the reaction of everybody in the crowd and particularly the team, it was obviously a bad challenge. Mia's been hurt with that, and it's kicked off a bit of a rammy in the middle of the park. So I think maybe one or two others get booked. I can't remember, but certainly tempers flared with that, which usually is a sign of how bad the tackle was. But it was definitely an opportunity that could have got us a foothold back in the game had she been sent off. But I feel that we're being on a booking. We should have ran at her a bit more after that. Put a bit more pressure on when she can't make a tackle. But unfortunately, I don't think we put enough pressure on the Celtic players that were in the book.
Yeah, Kat, I think Alan's kind of sitting on the fence a bit, so do you want to give us your take on it? Because I think both of us were ready to run on the pitch and fight for me. Personally, I think the ref needs to protect the players more. As we say every week, the refs just... I think they all need to go back to referee school or whatever, because they let games go too much, and then things like this happen, and then they're like, oh, we could only give a yellow because we've let so much go already. It's absolutely ridiculous. Mia's only 17 years old. If she gets injured there, that could have been a career-ending tackle, the way that player just rammed in with studs up. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, I was meant to be letting you say that.
No, 100% it's a red card. She goes in 2-footed. I mean, maybe she's going for the ball, I don't know, but she gets none of the ball, goes straight into Mia. Mia's down. Mia doesn't go down unless she's actually hurt. She's not one of these players. She's not like the Celtic team that go down at a drop of a hat. Somebody blows on them and they fall over. The ref, the lino, everyone today had a horrendous game. There's so many offsides that weren't called. The red card, it should have been a red card. Their manager gets a yellow card. Sarah Ewens is going for, I think, Caitlin Hayes, one of their players, because she pushes her after it. The ref doesn't see it. Turns into a farce of a game at that point, because the refs lost complete control. And then there's a tackle later on. She makes a tackle, and then she's allowed to be subbed off when she should have already been off the park. So I don't understand what's going on in the women's game, that they don't seem to think highly of it enough to have competent referees. But it's Scotland and it's referees and it's a women's game. So what chance have you got? But Jo was incensed. Like, that could have been a season-ending, or as you say, career-ending injury. Luckily, it wasn't. She, plays the rest of the game and she's okay. But it's just horrendous. Those kind of tackles shouldn't be allowed to happen.
No, definitely. We've seen last week the one through the back of Rio. Was it Rio, I think? through the
Jane?
back of Rio or whatever, Jane should have been a red, but it's like, oh well, we've let too much go. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I think it was the player that also got the yellow that should have also, I think she handballed it in the box as well, so she'd been sent off regardless. She's so lucky to be on the pitch at well, I think she got subbed off eventually once they realised how many mistakes she'd made, but just absolutely ridiculous. However, we move on. Jane comes on for Rio. Personally, I think it's another bizarre sub, Alan, but I would have personally taken Sarah Ewens off, but considering how many goals Rio scored against them. But what do you think of Jane coming on for Rio?
I was a wee bit surprised that it wasn't Sarah, but it's got to be said, I think Sarah had a pretty decent game. You know, she offered a threat in getting us up the park, but if Rio's fit, she stays on for me because she's got a habit of popping up with big goals and pressure moments. And certainly Jane came on and she scored and helped get us back into the game, but it was strange Jane came on and seemed to be playing deeper with Rachel Rowe pushed further forward. I found that one a wee bit strange.
Yeah, we seem to be experimenting at all the wrong times, Car, but as Alan just touched on there, Jane did come on and she scored. I think, going back to me, I think that kind of fired the players and kind of gave them the rocket up the bum that they needed, but it turned out to be kind of too little too late. We were getting chances. I think Jane hit the crossbar, I think, for a corner or something. So we were unlucky probably in the end not to take any for the game, but just one of those days.
Yeah, but if they played like that all game, then we probably do win that quite comfortably. So you can't show up for the last 20 minutes of a game and expect to get anything out of it. That's not how this works. But we weren't delivering balls into the box when Rio was on, and then we take her off and we start delivering good balls into the box that she's likely to get a head on and get something on. So it makes it even more baffling to me that we made that sub and took Rio off instead of Sarah Ewens, who did, in my opinion, have a good game, but that's not the sub that should have been made, because Jane got the goal, which is great, but it was kind of a bit of a stramash and she scores and that's fine, but we should have been delivering those kind of passes and balls and crosses into the box the whole time instead of waiting for the last 20 minutes to do something. But hopefully we've learnt our lesson now and we don't give them any opportunity, or any other team any opportunity, with us sitting back in any coming games, because it's going to end up costing us this league. And we were so far ahead at one point, to now be, only a point ahead is it's devastating, honestly. It's stupid, really, because we shouldn't be in this position, but we are.
Yeah, so it ends 2-1 to them. As Cash said, there's like a point between them and even Glasgow City won against Hearts today, so very tight at the top. Does give us a kind of title race, but when you think we could have been 7 points ahead if we'd won today and there's only a point in it, it's very disappointing to kind of be letting them get back in when we could have been stretching the lead.
Absolutely. I mean, in the last 4 league games, we've won 1, drew 2, and now lost 1. So it's not a particularly good run of form. You'd be inclined to say we could do a break, but we're not long off it back in international break. So it is encouraging. We're seeing some players get back to fitness, and listen, we certainly had chances to get back in and not just get a point for the game, but win the game. Mia going clean through. Can't remember if it was at 2-0 or 2-1. Mia hits the target 9 times out of 10 on that, and she's dragged it wide. Rachel Rowe get played through. She was clean through and doesn't get a strike off. Rachel Rowe's got to be scoring for that position. But it's one of the days. It is encouraging that we're still making chances, even if we're not playing well. Although it is a bit concerning that we started letting them score against us in open play, where it was only set pieces they were really getting joy against us before. But we really do need to tighten up. And as I said in the group chat, it's a sign how well Cathy Hill's been doing, that we really noticed today how much we miss Rachel McLaughlin. And we've not talked about it so much because of how well Cathy's been playing. And as much as I'm not saying Lisa had a bad game, Lisa played well considering how little she's played. but we badly need to get some of our top players back.
Yeah, Car, hopefully that's a lot sooner than we've kind of been told, but I think we seen Rachel run on the pitch last week and she kicked a ball today, so she can't be far away.
No, I mean, it's encouraging to see Kirsty Howitt's on the bench. We thought maybe she'd even come on because she does love a goal against them and she does offer us, but maybe it was just a bridge too far today. It wasn't quite right for her, but the fact that she's back on the bench, we were told that Rachel McLaughlin wasn't far behind her, so I'm hoping that maybe next week we'll have both of them on the bench to kind of offer something. Don't know if that's just wishful thinking or what, but I mean, Lisa was blowing and she even said that herself, she was struggling, but we didn't have any other option other than maybe Ailey, who, hasn't played the most amount of football, is still a young player and has, a bit to learn, but she could have maybe offered us a bit of pace, a bit of something else, but that's just what our luck, I suppose, with the injuries that we've had. We're badly missing Kirsty McLean in the midfield as well, but everybody else needs to step up and do what they need to do to get us over the line, and hopefully next week we win our first trophy, but even that's a little bit in doubt at this point with the last few games. I shouldn't be saying that, it's Partick Thistle, but you never know, and let's hope that doesn't happen because that'll be horrendous. None of us will be talking and doing these pods ever again, I don't think, but just one of those games that we needed to be better and we started to be better and it was too little too late, but that's the way of the league, I suppose.
Yeah, it certainly makes it exciting if you're the neutral. Not so much for us, but it is what it is. So, Alan, have you got a player of the match at all?
It's usually hard to pick on these sort of games, but I'll probably plump for Liv. As I said to her after the game, I think she's getting better and better and stronger every single week, every single game. And she was stuck in. She was always looking to make something happen today, and quite possibly at times she could have been the one that could have made the difference.
Car?
I mean, if Brogan had played the full 90 minutes, it would have been Brogan 100%, but because she didn't, I'm not allowed to pick that. So,
No, you can't. You can't.
Oh, right, I can't. Well, then it's Brogan. 100% it's Brogan.
When she was the best player, you can pick her.
Yeah, no, she absolutely 100% was the best player. She had them on strings in tight areas. She was still keeping hold of the ball and managing to get past them. She was offering us a lot. So for me, it's got to be Brogan.
Yeah, I think both good shouts, to be honest. I don't know who else we would. I've not even done the player vote thing yet because I was thinking who's the other player I can put in, but we can talk about that in a bit. So we parked the league, thankfully, for a week anyway, or a couple of weeks, because we've got a cup final to look forward to. So hopefully we're meant to have Kathy back next week because apparently it's just a kind of niggle she's got, Alan. So I would imagine she comes back in. Do we change anything else? What do you think?
For me, Mia starts. I think it's something we'll all be in agreement with. But Mia starts. You wouldn't probably expect that Vic starts in goal, given that she's had most of the cup games. But as you say, Kathy will probably be back in if she's fit. Maybe Rachel McLaughlin might make a bench, and I think Mia plays. I think based on recent team selections, it will still be Rio and Sarah up front. So I don't see many changes for today's team. I just hope we see a change in mentality and approach to the game when we get in Partick's faces for the first minute.
Yeah, Cara, what do you think?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Alan. Mia has to start. Vic probably will start because she's the cup keeper. I'd like to think that Jane and Rio start, or of course see how it's fully fit, and she was, warming up pretty intensely there. I think she's doing all right. I'd maybe start her purely just because she does love a goal at Tynecastle, so I'd maybe start her. But Mia, for me, is the dead cert. She absolutely has to start and play next week because she offers us so much more. And that's not a discredit to Lizzie. She does offer us a lot, but I think going forward and taking players on, Mia offers us more. So Mia and Brogan on the wings. Vic will be in goals and we'll go and beat them comfortably.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mia and Brogan have to be the ones on the wing, but I don't think it'll be Rio and Jane because for me they're too similar. So personally, I would just throw Kirsty Hout in. She loves a goal at Tynecastle and a knee slide, so stick her in beside Rio, let the magic happen, and we'll have that trophy retained, hopefully. So, Alan, you got a score prediction, even? Easy for me to say.
Blind sort of loyalty and annoyance at how the last sort of couple of games have been. We're going to go and scud Partick and beat them 6-0.
Oof, roll on next
So,
Sunday.
let's see our reaction. You know, it's a tough point of the season, you know, for a team. Every team's going to go through periods where, you know, games are more a struggle, and you know, it's time for a reaction. And what better place to have a reaction in Tynecastle in the cup final?
So if there's 6 goals scored, who's the first goal scorer then?
Don't know about the first, but Kirsty Hout will be the last.
That's a shout. I wonder what the odds are on that. Car, what are you going for?
I'm not quite as confident. I'm confident, but not quite as confident as that. But a big pitch, which I think suits us better than it suits them. I think a 4-1 will probably concede because that's just the way of Joe Potter's Rangers. I genuinely don't know who will score first. I said Tess last week for this game. I'll say Tess again.
I must really have scar tissue because I'm like, I'll be 2-0, get the trophy and leave. Don't know where you are getting the confidence on these goals considering how we've been playing, but I'll take anyone and retain the trophy, and then hopefully that kind of files us on. Loan reviews, anybody got the details for that? Alan, probably.
No, I haven't got a sort of full sort of loan review, but what we'll do, we'll
Well, lucky I have. Lucky one of them is prepared, eh? Right, so Megan Bell started against Glasgow City and lost. Shocking. Summer started for Spartans against Aberdeen and won. I never checked how long they actually played, but I've got more than you. I've got Mason and Becca. I think they did play, to be honest. Laura didn't seem to. Motherwell never really updated their second half, so I don't know if Laura actually came on, but Kayla started and seemed to get 2 assists as Motherwell won 4-0.
Good birthday for Kayla then.
Definitely. Megan Cunningham started for Partick. Don't think Jenna played, and they got beat 2-0 by Hibs, and Partick Thistle's very own Brian Graham got sent off, as Car pointed out before we came on. So don't know if that means, does that affect next week at all, Alan? Do you know?
I don't. Given it's a League Cup, probably more chance than it would have if it was a Scottish Cup. So we'll see if he gets to wear his new suit sitting in the stand behind us.
They might have got away with one then. But yeah, so a mixed bag of results, but minutes again for our loanies. I think Lucy Inman was on the bench for Queen's Park. She doesn't seem to be getting much game time, but I think, as Alan, you pointed out earlier, the keeper they've got in there now seems to be doing quite well. So difficult for kind of Lucy to get in, but a kind of mixed bag of results and starts for the players, but good to see that they're getting minutes anyway.
It's definitely good that they're getting experience. They've been involved in first team squads, and even if they're on the bench and maybe not always getting minutes, you know, like Lucy's mostly sitting on the bench at Queen's Park because Lauren McGregor's having a great season, but you know, she's involved in a team that's at top of the league and quite comfortably going to win the league and win promotion. So it's still a great experience. And with most of these loan players are spending some time training, whereas during the week. So Joe's got a good eye on him and how they're getting on and developing, which is great for him.
Yeah, so kind of a mixed bag, as we say, a mixed kind of weekend for us in general. But did you have a look at the score predictions, Alan? I think there was probably a mixed bag of those as well.
There's definitely a mixed bag. It's not quite complete, but by the time anybody gets to this point in the podcast, it will be posted on the Facebook group and how everybody's gotten on. But if we jump away from your score predictor for a wee bit, we'll say well done to you, Laura, for your fundraising. other night for the charity foundation. So I want to give a wee shout out for what you did.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ran 5k round about the Kelpies at the Helix Park, and so far I've raised about £300 for the Rangers Charity Foundation. So I will post the link in the description if anybody else wants to donate. It would be very much appreciated. And yeah, it was quite good. It was highly recommend anybody to do the Supernova runs. It was a lot of fun. And I'm already signed up to do next year because clearly I'm a sucker for running. But yeah, thank you very much to both of you. Obviously, I appreciate your encouragement and donations as well. And yeah, thank you for bringing it up. Cara, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Or you just done? You're just done.
Scattered. I'm honest, I'm scattered. I don't know. There's still scarves and autograph books and hats and pin badges and all this stuff available. If anybody wants to buy anything next week, we'll have some stuff with us. You know, we'll be on the bus, the supporters bus, which is now full again because some people had to drop out and then more people signed up. So that's good that we've got a full bus running. So if anybody, is on the bus and wants to buy anything, we'll have some stuff on the bus available to buy. People that have ordered mugs for me, they'll also be available next week, and I'll message them separately to arrange meeting up to get them handed off. That's about it. Yeah, hopefully we'll go and win next week and cheer us all up.
Yeah, hopefully a much more positive pod next week. But as always, my thanks to Alan and Cara for joining me.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks to both of you.
And we'll see you next week at the game. Hopefully a much more successful weekend.